Hi Dollar Divas, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing a 3 looks 1 palette, of course using bargain makeup. And the palette I'm going to be using today is the LA Colors 12 pan palette. This is in the color Story Urban. So it's got some brighter colors in there and it's got some neutral shades. And yeah, I'm going to see if I can't get 3 looks with this palette. So this is going to kind of be a series with these 12 pan palettes. 3 or 2 look videos depending on the palette. I feel like I can get 3 out of this very easily. So that's what we're gonna be doing today. I've had several requests for this type of a video using these palettes. So I'm excited to get to that today. So I'm just starting out with some makeup on. That way I can just go ahead and get right into the eyeshadow looks. So of course, if you're a returning Dollar Diva, thank you so much for coming on back for another video. And if you're new to my channel, my name is Jessica and I'm basically a bargain makeup channel. What I mean by that is I like to do a lot of the same fun content that other makeup channels do. I just like to keep it in the bargain price point. So the closer to $1, the better. So if it sounds like you're in the right place, I do hope you'll become part of our Dollar Diva family here on YouTube. So without any further chit chat, let's just go ahead and get into today's video. So my first makeup look, I'm kind of thinking of doing something really, really bright and fun. And the other makeup that I'm wearing on my face is it's mostly Dollar Tree makeup. I think there's one item from Temu, but I will have everything that I'm wearing on my face down below in the description box. That way, if you're curious, you can just go check that out. So I think I'm gonna do kind of like a blue, green, yellow look. I'm also gonna do kind of a neutral look, and then I'm gonna do something a little bit more on the, I don't know, purpley kind of color tone. So those are kind of the 3 looks I'm planning today. So like doing multiple looks with a palette all in one day, it can be pretty like abusive on your eyes. So I finally bought some of these. These are from either BPure or BColor. They're the under eye protectors and I finally purchased them. That way I could test them out for you all. So I thought today would be the perfect day to use them because I do have all my makeup on. So I want to try to protect under my eyes as much as possible. So I will be testing these as well today. They're actually a lot bigger than I thought they would be. So that is encouraging. I have it a little close to the bottom of my eye, so the bottom of my eye like feels really weird. I want to get it a little bit more in my corner on this one. Move this one as well. Okay, so there we go. We look ridiculous, so means we're ready to start. Oh, my eyes are just feeling so weird. They make I feel like my vision's weird. Let me see if I can't fix this. I feel like I'm having to put them down a little bit lower than I want to. There we go. If you put them up too high, makes your eyes feel a little wonky. My eyes do feel still a little bit wonky. So the first color I'm gonna go into is this whitish shade right here, and I'm gonna put this all over my lid. I feel like this will help the colors pop a little bit more. And I'm gonna try to tap off the excess and make as little mess as possible. My brush is damp, and here's just a thing. These are not the best palettes in the world, but you can get looks with them. And it's what a lot of people have. So a tip, even though they're like kind of more matte shades, dampen your brush. It really will help the colors go on more pigmented. See, you can see that that's really helping. And I'm gonna bring that all the way up to my brow bone. But see, you can see we're getting an effect with this. So if you dampen your brush, you will just have much, much more luck. Mine is damp because of course I had to clean my brush. Kind of the worst part of doing a multiple look 1 palette video is that you end up having to reapply and put eyelashes back on like however many times you do it. That's kind of the hardest part. But I know these videos are so helpful to people. So there we go. We've got our base shade laid down. So I'm just gonna go in with that same brush and I'm gonna go into that fun yellow shade right there. And this shade I wanna put up into my crease. And I'm trying not to go as heavy-handed. I'm trying to tap off my brush in between each time I, go into the shade. See, it's not like super pigmented. It's not as pigmented as like I recently did a really bright eyeshadow look. I wish the LA Colors in like their spring collection would come out with like a bright quad. Like something with like a yellow, an orange, a pink, and a blue, or like a green, a blue, a purple, and a pink, or something like that. I kind of feel like that's what the Tropical Bloom selection should have been. Now that I'm kind of thinking about it in retrospect. See, these really are not the most pigmented. I'm gonna dampen my brush just a little bit with some setting spray. Actually, I'm gonna go into something a more compact brush. I'm going in with a brush that's just a little bit tighter packed and shorter. I think that's the best we're gonna get. So this is a little bit more of like a flat kind of a brush. I'm gonna spray it and I'm gonna start implementing some of the greens and the blues. So I'm gonna go into that bright blue shade right there in the middle. And I'm gonna really pack this onto my brush You can see how much I've packed it on there, like that. And I'm gonna spray it. And I'm gonna put this on my lid. See, now we're talking. That's just a little bit more, much more pigmented. And then I'm gonna blend it with that first brush. It still has some of the yellow on it. Blend that line. Like I said, these shadows are not LA Color's best, but like I said, I've gotten a lot of requests to do like a 2 looks, 1 palette, 3 looks, 1 palette with these. So, and you can get a look. And sometimes, you know, people don't always want the most pigmented eyeshadows, and sometimes, especially if you're a beginner, pigmented eyeshadows can be really hard to work with, and some people just want like a nice lighter wash of color. And so sometimes a palette that isn't super pigmented is not a bad thing necessarily, you know what I mean? I've had several of you tell me. See, it's kind of mixing in with that yellow a little bit and kind of getting a little bit like a green. So I'm gonna clean off that brush that I was using. And again, I'm gonna dampen it with some setting spray. And I'm gonna go into a green shade. These two here are very similar. I'm just gonna go into this one right here, right next to the yellow. I don't think it's gonna matter a whole lot. And I'm gonna put this kind of in towards the inner part of my eye. So we're kind of doing this blue to green look. There's actually not a ton of difference between these two shades, honestly, if I'm being completely honest. I'm just gonna blend. I'm gonna grab a little bit of that yellow with that brush and blend it up into the crease a bit. Now I'm gonna take that shade right there and smoke out the outer part of my eye just a bit. I'm gonna go in with a brush kind of like this. Yeah, I'm gonna wet it. I just want like a light, I just want to like darken up the outer part, make it a little bit smoky. There we go. Just gonna blend it with a fluffy brush. It's actually doing, this color here is actually doing much more than I thought. And these aren't really perfectly matte. They're not shimmery, but they're not matte. They're really just, there's a little bit of a sheen to them. Nothing crazy. I'm gonna do some of these videos. I'm gonna do 2 look 1 palette videos with the LA Color 6 pans as well. So there we go. So I'm gonna take these off and just kind of, for right now, and see how we did. They did a really good job. I mean, I have no mess under my eyes. I already have some mascara on. I'm gonna apply some IONI Lash Glue and Liner in 1 and my lashes, and then we'll add some details and finish off look number 1. Okay, lashes are on, and this look is starting to come together, I feel. So I'm not wanting to abandon that yellow just yet. I'm gonna take this brush that I just used for the darker shade. I'm gonna spray it. I'm gonna go back into that yellow. I'm gonna spray it again with the shadow on it, and I just wanna get a little bit more yellow. That's doing it now. See, some of you just need to change your brush and your technique a little bit. Like I said, these aren't the most pigmented in the world, but it's what a lot of you have. And so, you know, I want to be able to do what you need, you know. So I'm going to add some liner to my waterline, and I will be right back. Okay, so now I want to add an inner corner highlight, and I don't really have anything in this palette I think that would be good, except maybe that white shade. I don't know. Or I can use like a liquid shadow. So this one here is very readily available. This is the shade, oh, I don't know if mine is kind of worn off, but you've seen it. It's like kind of like this pewter shade. Then I've got one from the Halloween line in Villain. And then I've got one of these here from the Eye and Lip Bar. This is in Champagne Bubble. It's like a white. And I might just use this for all 3 looks. Yeah, this one here is just not really light enough for my taste. So I'm just going to go in with a little bit of this. I'm just going to take a little detailing brush. And I just want to take this into the inner corner. There we go. That always completes it for me. I think I'm going to smoke out underneath my eye a little bit too. I'll probably use a little bit of that blue. Okay, so I'm going to smoke out underneath. And I think you could use either the blue or the green. I'm just going to go ahead and use the blue. Okay, I'm just going to take a smudger brush. Just go in. And there we go. I would say that this look is done. The yellow is a little hard to work with, even damp, but the green and the blue and even that shade right there with the right, you know, with a really compact brush and a little damp, and the white, really, you know, like I said, not the most pigmented in the world, and definitely probably the worst eyeshadow that LA Colors has to offer, but they're very readily available, and obviously with a little bit of work and some technique, you can get a look. And see, it's really not so offensive. They're a little bit more of a wash of color. And buildable, you know, you can even not wet your brush and just get it even lighter if you wanted. So there, then a little bit of liquid eyeshadow in the inner corner, and you've got look number 1. Okay, so now for look number 2, and the first look I totally forgot to put eyeshadow primer on, so I went ahead and put the LA Colors eye primer on. We'll see if it makes a difference with how the shadows apply. So this look is going to be a little bit more of like an ethereal look. I'm kind of thinking of going like into these shades right here and then adding some of that pearl liquid shadow. So I'm going to start by going all over my lid with this shade right here. It's a little bit more of like a bone shade. I'm going to place these things here back under my eye. God willing, I can get another use out of them. Oh yeah, they are sticking just as good as they did the first time. So this might be something that you could reuse a couple times. Oh, definitely, yeah, they're sticking every bit as good the second time around. And I've got makeup on my face as well. Yeah, see, this is actually going on really pigmented. I think the eyeshadow primer is going to help a lot. Decent as a color payoff as I was able to get. It would do better with an eyeshadow primer. At some point, I became a believer in eyeshadow primer. Now, I don't necessarily have oily eyelids, which I know some people do, and it helps. Certain ones can help your, with creasing and stuff like that. I don't tend to have that problem, but I will notice that it helps my eyeshadow go on a little bit more pigmented. So I'm going to go into this shade right here. Just going to use that same brush. I'm going to see how it goes on without spraying it first. Oh, that's going on like really well. I think the eyeshadow primer, y'all, make sure you use an eyeshadow primer with these. Yeah, look at that. That's really, really pretty. I think I'm going to definitely I think this look here is going to be really, really beautiful. So I'm going in with that orange brush again. I want to really kind of concentrate this. I'm going to go into that same shade that I did for that other look. I'm going to put it on the brush. My brush is damp with setting spray. And I'm going to concentrate that, kind of smoke it out a little bit more. Another kind of problem with these palettes is there's not a whole lot of variation. There'll always be like a couple shades that are just really, really close in color. And so that can be a little hard. That's how the LA Colors 6 pans were before they reformulated them. I'm really hoping that 2025 is the year that they reformulate these 12 pans. I wonder if we'll get a new one this year. Same thing with the 6 pans like we did last year. Get a new color story in both. I really would almost rather that they just reformulate and make all of these 12 pans more like the In Vogue. Okay, I'm going to just really blur that because that gave me a whole lot more color payoff than I anticipated. Yeah, y'all, when you use these shadows, you will greatly, greatly benefit from an eyeshadow primer. I think it's imperative. So I'm going to go into this shade right here, and I'm going to use a flat brush and put it on like the inner part of my eye. So I'm going to dampen it with some, see, a little flat, thin brush like this. I sprayed some setting spray. I'm going to pack this shade on my brush, and I'm going to spray it again. That is really pretty. Do the same thing. The shadow, spray it. Look at that, y'all. I think that's coming out really nice. I'm going to take these off for the time being. I feel like this eye right here, it didn't stick down quite as good, so I made a little bit of a mess. So I'm going to put on my IONI Lash Glue Liner in one and a pair of lashes, and I will be right back and we'll finish off this eye look. Okay, so I put my lashes on, and I also put some black liner in my waterline. So I'm not going to smoke this look out underneath. I'm just going to add some liquid shadow to the inner corner. Same way we did in look number 1. Drag some up if you can. And there we go. I'm very pleased with how this look came out. I think this just looks so exactly the way I wanted it to. Very ethereal. So there we go. There is look number 2 using 4 other shades in the palette. So we've already used this shade, we've used this shade, this shade, this shade, this shade, this shade, and this blue and this white here. So we've used almost all the colors. And so yeah, I really like this. Is just a very kind of nice light lilac ethereal makeup look, I would call it. So now on to look number 3, which will be a neutral eyeshadow look. Okay, now it's time for look number 3. Of course, I did apply eyeshadow primer again and some mascara. Eyeshadow primer again is really important when working with these 12 pan palettes because they're not the most pigmented. Okay, so I'm gonna go in again all over my lid with this top corner shade here, kind of a bone shade. And like I said, this is gonna be a neutral makeup look. Y'all, seriously, the difference in having an eyeshadow primer and not is stunning. Seriously, like, look at that. I think I'm gonna forego trying to wear those things for a third time. Although why not? But you know what? We're trying things here and I'm already making a mess with this lighter shade. So let me just see if I can't use them maybe a third time. Seems like the key is to just not try to stick them down on your cheek. Just stick them down right here and then just let them kind of hang, if that makes sense. I'm just gonna wipe off that same brush and I'm gonna go into this shade right here. This is gonna end up being a very, very simple look. And I'm just gonna apply this. It's really not doing a whole lot, is it? I'm gonna spray my brush with setting spray. After I put shadow on it, I'm just sprayed it with some setting spray. We're gonna see if this helps lay down this color anymore. I'm gonna use this brush here again. Again, we're also testing things too. This is a test for me as well to see what I can do. Put on there and I'm gonna spray it. And I'm just gonna get really aggressive with it, y'all. I'm just gonna really lay this down with a damp flat brush and see what kind of a color payoff I can get. A little bit more, nothing crazy. This may not be the best palette to try to do a neutral look with. I'm gonna go into the shade next to it, which I don't know that it's gonna be any better, but we will give it a try. I'm not even gonna clean off my brush. I'm just going to. And I am making a big ol' mess. I kind of feel like that color has a little bit more payoff, honestly. I'm gonna put it all over my lid up to my crease. I'm gonna take that first brush and just blend the crease a bit. Okay, so now I'm gonna go into that shade right there that we used in all three looks. And I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna use that same brush and I'm just gonna smoke it out a bit. Yeah, that bone shade and the white shade have really good payoff, but those two peachy shades don't seem to have much going for them. So I guess in this process you'll know what shades, what you can kind of expect from all of the shades. You know, and other, you know, even high-end palettes are like that. Some, you know, I've got a lot of Urban Decay naked palettes where some shades are really, really amazing in a palette. Then there's a couple duds, you know what I mean? Okay, this look is not gonna necessarily be a home run, but to save it, I'm gonna go into this shade right here. I'm just kind of dusting off that first brush I used, and I'm gonna try to go with a light hand, and I'm just gonna sweep that over my lid a little bit. I feel like that'll just kind of marry the two colors together just a bit. Yeah, not the winningest makeup look, that's for sure. Let me just add some liner and lashes and I will be right back. Okay, so I added lashes and liner, and you know, I mean, it's not a terrible makeup look. It's just, I guess it's neutral. I guess what I did was get a neutral look, but I'm not gonna completely abandon it. I'm gonna do a little inner corner highlight. I'm gonna use the same liquid shadow that I used in the other two looks. I'm also going to take a little bit of the shadow and kind of go up with it a little bit onto the eyelid. There we go. This might actually be some of y'all's favorite look, you know, because it is kind of subtle and it actually came together. I mean, I guess I did get what I said I was going to get, and that is a more neutral eyeshadow look. So there we go. There is look number 3. Like I said, very neutral, a little underwhelming for me, but like I said, it's just because I might pop a little bit of the light shade, the bone shade under my brow bone real quick. Give that a little bit of a pop. So there we go. There we go. I would say this look is done. So this is look number 3. Again, very neutral look, and yeah, just a little hint of sparkle. Definitely let me know which look was your favorite. I think my favorite was number 2. So definitely let me know down below in the comments section. Like I said, I will be doing videos like this with all these palettes, as well as the LA Colors 6 pans as well. So definitely be on the lookout for more videos like this. Of course, if you enjoyed this, show me you did by hitting the like button. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.